Okay, I'm back. Sorry, guys. So, let's start that again. Hi, Gail. Sorry about that. I forgot that my Wi-Fi is a little bit sketchy in this room. Soul Tribe, I asked what people wanted me to talk about, and Gail asked me to talk about mindset, and so I'm talking about mindset. My chickens are making funny noises, so I'm just gonna make sure they're alive and well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So mindset. I want to talk today about mindset. I think mindset is a game changer. I think that mastering our mindset really, really enables us to, I think, really support going for things that we want to go for and, creating forward momentum and all of that. I also wanted to talk about the science behind mindset because I think one of the things that's so powerful about shifting our mindset and mastering our mindset is being able to understand what exactly it is. So I think when something can become tangible and we understand what it is, it becomes much easier for us to master it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the science behind it. Now, I'm not, from what I understand about mindset and what, the work that I've done around it, I'm by no means let's say, a master of science of mindset, but I think I know, I do pretty well at it. So I want to talk a little bit about our brains and again, the science behind mindset work. So we have something called pathways, neuron pathways in our brain. And that's, neuroscience, you can look that up. And essentially what happens when we're developing a new mindset or we're shifting our mindset is we're actually creating new pathways in our brain. So why people default on the same behaviors or the same patterns all the time is because they literally just have that one pathway. And so when you do mindset work, you're essentially giving yourself another pathway to start paving in your mind to create different behaviors. So there is a science behind mindset. You're essentially creating new pathways in your brain, and we actually can do that. So we are able to kind of shift our behaviors and mindset. And I think that there is more powerful ways to do that than others. The work that I do with horses, I kind of relate it, the mindset work with the horses, essentially the difference between doing it with a bulldozer, paving a new pathway with a bulldozer, and a machete. Not that I'm, into violent tools or anything. Okay. So, how do we shift our mindset? So, basically, again, what we're doing when we're creating mindset is we're creating a new pathway in our brains to shift how our behavior or our patterns are showing up in our life. And I'm going to talk about what we can do to shift that a little bit more powerfully. So, I think just saying an affirmation, for example, a new affirmation to create a new way of being isn't enough. It's not sort of powerful enough to do. That's why we have sort of tools like, EFT or, the work that I do with the horses or, mind, body, spirit work, because it's helping us really kind of create really concrete new pathways in our brain. So the first thing to do to shift our mindset is to identify what our mindset is currently, because we're not going to be able to shift our mindset if we don't know what it is currently. So our mindset basically is, a way that I kind of interpret what mindset is all about. It's our belief systems and our thoughts that are happening. And oftentimes our thoughts and our belief systems really dictate our actions, how we meet the world, how we're in relationship with it. So shifting our mindset actually shifts how we relate to the world, how we show up, and how we start to, let's say, move. So if I had a mindset, for example, or belief system that the world is a really scary place and I can't trust anybody, for example. So that is sort of my reality. So my mindset and my belief system around that creates my reality, which means that I probably act in a way of where I don't trust people. And so that means that maybe I don't leave my house. And so one of the things that we need to do to shift that, so if I wanted to create, so again, I will probably look at if I want to create community, for example. So if I'm really yearning for community and for friendship, but I have this belief system that the world is a dangerous place, which is affecting my thoughts about it, which is affecting my actions, which is getting in the way of me creating my, desired outcome of having community, the first place I'm going to go is my belief systems to be able to, again, get into alignment to creating community. So say I'm having a struggle creating community, or I'm talking to somebody who has that problem, the first thing I'm gonna probably start looking at is what is their current belief system around that. And if they start talking to me about, well, I don't trust people, I've had all those things. Okay, so the first thing we need to address, if you want community, that's the underlying desire, we have to get you to a place of we're supporting that with your mindset. So where we're going to start with that is, I would say, for example, okay, I would ask that person, give me an example of a time in your life where you had a positive experience with a person. So that maybe discounted that belief that all people are, you know, bad or wrong. So when we're shifting our mindset, what we want to do is we want to give our mind a place to anchor into. That's why perspective shifting is so powerful, because we're giving our brains and our system a different anchoring into something else. So so I might ask that person, okay, think about a time where you had a really positive experience with people. And they might say, well, you know what, there was a time a year ago where I met this person on the airplane. I was having a really difficult time with my baggages, and they really helped me to put it back into the baggage. And then they gave me their window seat because, you know, I was saying how much I really wanted a window seat. So you experience kindness with a human being. So I know now, okay, all people aren't. Then I can, in my brain, be like, okay, that belief system I have that all people are, you know, bad is not true because I had this positive experience. So now what essentially you've done there is you've created a different pathway in your brain that says not all people are bad. So you went from all people are maybe bad or scary to not all people are bad. So what we want to do when we create a new mindset is, again, we want to give ourselves anchoring. We want to get ourselves proof or of the new mindset, and then we want to work the new mindset. So again, mindset to me is really the key in shifting our experience in our outside world. So I really believe what we hold internally to be true about ourselves and about you know, our beliefs of the world really dictate what happens in our outside. So if I have, so let's do a different example. So say I'm really wanting to work on you know, money mindset, okay? So because that's a big one for a lot of people. So say I want to work on money mindset, and I notice that right now what I'm feeling like is, you know, every time I think about money, I'm really panicked. I'm afraid of charging people for my services because I don't think people are going to be able to pay. So I really have a lack mentality or a lack mindset about money. So one of the first things I'm going to do is, first of all, again, we want to identify what we're currently holding to be true about money and our belief system about it. So the way to shift our mindset or identify it is to first to know what it is, right? We can't sort of shift things, or we can't do any mindset work if we don't know what mindset is or what our current mindset is. So the first thing we want to do is really identify, okay, I have these types of belief systems that says, you know, there's not enough money in the world or whatever that is. So you're gonna make a list of that. And then to shift our mindset, the thing that you're going to do is then you're going to look for proof for a different belief system or a different experience. So if I want to create a mindset around wealth, that I believe that there's abundance for everybody and that there's money always flowing in, I'm going to give myself examples of that so I can support this new thought or, you know, pathway in my brain around mindset. So that might look like I read books. This is why sort of reading things and tapping into our, you know, visual senses, our felt senses, and our hearing senses are so powerful. That's actually helping you create a new mindset. Again, we're working with the neuron pathways in your brain. So when we create a new mindset, when we're creating a new pattern or a belief system that we're wanting to support, visual, felt sense, audio is all going to support that. That all supports in the new perspective shifting in the brain. So then I would say look for proof, read wealth consciousness books, listen to the audio, look at people that are living in a way that are supporting a different type of consciousness around money that you want to emulate. So what it is you're giving your brain and you're giving yourself an anchor into a different reality. So you're saying, okay, that, you know, I'm going to look up to this person who really speaks about how there's, you know, abundance in the world, or, you know, listen to Science of Getting Rich by Wallace T. Wattles. And as I listen to it, it's helping me create a new pathway in my brain to support this new mindset shift. So when we're talking about mindset work, I really believe where we are successful in shifting our mindset is when we're not just, you know, creating a new belief system, is we're supporting it with proof. audio, visual, felt experiences to help anchor in the new pathway, and then we can choose it. So then the mindset work becomes, I choose that mindset over and over and over again. So again, I'm going to keep coming back to mindset for me. I knew that, for me, kind of shifting and creating a different type of, let's say, success in my business where I haven't been successful at all, I knew a key ingredient of being able to shift that was really addressing my mindset. Because if my thoughts are operating from a place of, fear and insecurity all the time, it's going to be very, very hard for me to operate or take action or to move in a way that's really going to align in my successes. So mindset really is a driving force for a lot of things. So if you're finding that you're bumping up against some things, or there's resistance, or you're just not able to, to create the desired, let's say, outcome that you're wanting right now, the first place is going to look is to what are your belief systems, what's your current mindset, what are the thoughts that are happening in your head. A lot of the times we are very unconscious to what our thoughts are doing. So we're just letting our thoughts kind of run rampant. We're not paying attention, and we're not listening to those voices. So one of the first steps, I think, in shifting our mindset, again, is being aware of what is our current mindset. So what are our thoughts? If I just were to observe myself and the things that I was thinking about myself or creations, what is that? So I might have an insecurity that I can't, nobody makes money being intuitive. A lot of the insecurities that I had about being too spiritual or too out there, that people weren't going to take me seriously because that's what I was told. So what happened was I had this kind of, let's say, record tape in my head. We can kind of use that metaphor with mindset, that I had a tape recorder that was going that said, you can't do this, you can't be who you are, you're not going to be successful. And so what happened was how I was showing up, how I was behaving, was directly correlated to that mindset, which was definitely getting in the way of me creating the results and the outcome that I wanted in my life. So there was that part of me that was very dominant, and I also was not really conscious of what those thoughts and belief systems were. When we're able to be, I'm going to say, in control or a little bit more mindful, that's why mindfulness is such a great tool. We're able to master our mindset, because then instead of it just being unconscious and us being kind of like the observer of things, where we're the one kind of directing the thought. So that's why I think, meditation and visualization, like some of those tools, are very, very powerful, is because they support the shift in our mindset work. And they help us learn how to master our own minds, which is not an easy thing to do, as we all know. But I knew for myself that it's one of the things that I really wanted to help master. And I think that there's an easier way that we can do that without just relying on ourselves. And that's where I really lean into, I think one of the ways that we do that, here's a perfect example for myself of how I kind of really empower my mindset shift. Music and exercise. I really think that when we can access all of our senses, when we're shifting our mindset, we're really, really amplifying the shift of it, right? So if I'm just sitting in my room or sitting in my meeting room and I'm just meditating, and trying to, focus my thoughts on, instead of, again, being afraid of money or thinking I'm taking something, I'm just going to sit here for a couple seconds and I'm going to direct my thoughts that money is good and money supports my purpose. And I'm just going to say that over and over again. Well, it's going to be much more powerful when I can couple that, those affirmations when I'm listening to something. So that's where I think when you're first starting to change your mindset, listening to like guided meditations or, audiobooks that really support the mindset you wanting to shift are very, very important, because it's giving yourself an anchor until you can hold it for yourself. It's kind of giving you a little bit of that support until you do it for yourself. So here's another metaphor, because I like to help with metaphors. The bowling alley. If you ever go bowling, you know that, if you're maybe a little kid, you can put the bumper guards in so that actually you can get these like rubber guards that go in the gutters, so that even if you don't shoot the ball very well, it's still going to go down the center. So say, for example, for somebody who first is learning to bowl, they put the gutters into place so that the ball goes to where they want it to go until they are really strong and they understand how to hold the bowling ball, and then they don't need the gutters anymore and they can take the gutters out, but the ball is still going to go and hit the pin. So when we're creating a new mindset or we're shifting a new mindset, having something of you know, audios or having a mentor that's sort of supporting your new mindset growth. That's why I think it's so great to have, you know, coaches or different mentors in your life when you're trying to build a new mindset around something, because they're going to help you really anchor into it. Why I use, let's say, you know, exercise and music as a tool for myself, because I know, number one, when I am, so this is another way that I will support a mindset shift. I like to use exercise because I'm tapping into, you know, endorphins. Exercise creates endorphins. So sometimes what I'll do, if I'm working on, I want to shift my, let's say, mentality or how I'm feeling about something, and I don't really like that I'm not feeling super positive, or I know that my mindset is really the thing that's getting in the way. What I'll do oftentimes is I go, you know, a lot of the times I'll take my dog for a walk, or I'll just exercise, and I'll put on music that feels very empowering to me. So I'll actually give myself, you know, music that really taps into maybe a different part of myself. And then while I'm exercising and listening to music, I'm going to be focusing on a different belief system about myself. So say I'm feeling like really down on myself and I'm not feeling like I'm capable of anything. And that's really triggering me, and it's not allowing me to create any movement or actually to create anything that's going on in my business, for example. Okay, so I just can't create because I'm just feeling like really low about myself. And my thoughts are just running rampant of how much I suck, right? So I'm going to go put on music that empowers me. Then I'm going to go outside and take a walk, or I'm going to go exercise. And I'm going to really tap into my strengths and say, I'm strong, I'm capable, I can do this. And so what that is, it's focusing my mind and my thoughts. It's creating an energy that then has a corresponding feeling in my body, which is supporting that mindset even more. So it's almost like I'm feeding it a more juice, which is then creating either creating a new pathway, or it's nurturing one I already created. So I also think with mindset work, I think what happens is, if, you know, people might assume that, okay, I've created a new mindset, I don't have to go back to it. When we're creating new mindset for ourselves, or we're trying to do mindset work, it's really, really important to nurture that mindset work every day, every single day, which looks like, you know, visualization or meditation to support the new pathway. So we don't just want to, there's the work that we need to support it. So it would be like, I use the metaphor again, if you were bought a piece of land and you wanted to create a path that you want to walk in the woods, and you're going to use, you know, your machete or whatever, and you're going to pave that path. It becomes a well-worn path once we've walked it a few times, right? It's the same if you see like any like deer paths out in nature. It's very well refined because the deer has walked over it many times. So again, mindset work is really about you're creating new neuronic pathways in your brain. You're giving yourself access to another, you know, energy around how you're holding something. And if we want to continue to nurture that mindset, we want to do something every day until it becomes a default, right? So until it becomes a default setting. So instead of going into fear about something, you notice you think about something and I'm going into fear about it, well, then I'm immediately going to stop myself. So I'm trying to use an example because it's easier if I use examples. So say I have a fear of, okay, here's an example. I'll use one for myself. Say I have a fear around setting boundaries in my business. For example, like scheduling things according to what I want, or, you know, limiting how much people have access to me, because I have this belief system that I have to be accessible to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in order for them to like me and to get what they want from me. So I have a mindset that says you can't set boundaries, because if you do, people won't like you or they won't want to work with you, and so you have to be available for them 24 hours, 7 days a week. So when I first started coaching, I had a little bit of a mindset that I had to be accessible all the time, which meant that I was letting clients text me. People were, you know, emailing and Facebook messaging me at all hours of the night. And what happened was I found myself incredibly stressed. I wasn't really able to do as best of a job as I could for the people I was serving. And then I noticed I just had all this anxiety all the time because I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and it was just really hard to have any kind of space for myself. I was afraid of setting a boundary because I was afraid what would happen is, you know, people would get mad or whatever it was. I'm hoping this is a good example. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. So How did I create a new mindset about that? Because what happens was the mindset I was currently in wasn't really supporting what was feeling like a really good place to me to operate from. So if I really want to be, clear and balanced and, so that I can really support my clients, I have to put some boundaries around me, because otherwise I'm going to be drained and I'm not going to be at my best for people. So that was part of what I did for myself, as I realized, okay, this way of being isn't really working for me. It's not really supporting what I want. So I have to create a new, mindset around this. Coming back to how we shift it is identifying what it is. So I had a mindset that I had to be accessible all the time, for people, in order for me to feel like I'm serving them to the best of my ability. What was actually happening, is that mindset and that operating system was doing the opposite. So sometimes just kind of illuminating things for ourselves is really empowering. So then I said, okay, I have to create a boundary. So I created a new belief system that said, as I can create space for myself, I become more available and more, let's say, potent for my clients. And that I noticed that I had almost like I felt relaxed as soon as I said it. So that's where the new mindset really wanted to go. That was really going to support me. I needed to learn how to create space for myself. So then what I did is I started to create action to support that new belief system. And so when we're creating a new mindset, what you also want to make sure is you feel a resonance behind it, because mindset is really going to work when we feel like a resonance behind it. So if you're creating new belief systems or you're doing mindset work, I want you to pay attention also to how you feel. So if you're creating a new belief system, but you don't get a good feeling about it, it means it's not it, or you want to explore that a little bit. So when I said to myself, the more space I can create for myself, the more abundance can flow into my life, or the more potent I can be for clients, I noticed that as soon as I said that, there was almost like a relaxing that I felt in my chest. So that's how I know that I'm in resonance with the mindset that's really going to support what I want to create in my life. Then for me is, how can I take action and what can I do to continue to support that mindset shift? The first thing is that I allowed myself to create the shift. So I gave myself an alternative to how I was showing up, and I noticed that it felt a lot better. So then all of a sudden my brain is like, oh, hold on a second, and a new pathway has just been formed. Then I'm going to take action around it to support it so that that mindset becomes a default. And that looks like, telling my clients, I'm not available for Facebook messaging, and if you need me, please email me here. And then what's going to happen is people, the clients say, sure, no problem. Oh gosh, I get so relieved. And now I have evidence and proof that I can support that new mindset. So anytime that I get into that place of, oh, I have to be available, otherwise people won't like me, or whatever it is, my clients won't like me, I think about, oh, but I remember when I created that new shift that said, the more space I create for myself, the more available I am for people, my clients. And then I remember when I set that boundary around, Facebook messaging, and it was actually received really, really well. And I was able to actually sign 2 more clients when I did that. So then I just gave myself proof to support that new mindset. So again, when we're doing mindset work, we also want to give ourselves proof of the new mindset we want to create for ourselves. So if you're not happy with, or you're feeling like I need some mindset work because I know my belief systems are really bad right now, or they're just not feeling good, first identify it, then identify how you would like to feel, or what your experiences would like to be, and then look for examples that can support it. So where have I had an experience like that in my life that can support that mindset? And then that helps to anchor it into your brain. And then, whether it's reading books or working with a mentor or surrounding yourself with somebody who is living or working in a way that really is aligned to what you want to create for yourself, that is what's going to help that mindset even more. So when I wanted to shift my mindset around money, part of the things that I do that is, I identified what my current belief system around money was. My chickens are having a party out there. And then I identified what I wanted to feel, and then I surrounded myself with, mentors and people, and read books that really were supporting this new belief system so that I could anchor it in even more. And then as I started to have an experience of it, then I was using that as proof. Whenever that other mindset thing showed up, I said, well, I did this and I created this and I created this abundance. And then I'm going to lean into, listening to those audiobooks and doing those visuals as well. So mindset work really needs to be supported with our external senses if we want to anchor it more deeply into our brain. And again, I really, really think mindset work is very, very potent. It's very, very powerful, and it is something that we have to do work to master, right? So again, I think what happens is a lot of the time is people just, they maybe don't even address mindset. They don't think it's a big deal. They don't watch their thoughts. They don't do like any kind of practices like visualization or meditation. They're just not, they don't have an awareness of their mindset or how's their impact. And I think mindset is one of those things that is definitely an essential. And I know whenever I find that I'm out of alignment with something that's happening in my life, the very first place I'm going is to do mindset work. It's one of the staple things I try to help my clients with as well, because I know if our minds aren't focused and our minds aren't working for us, then they're working against us in a lot of ways. So they're creating, worries and fears and scenarios for our experience that just aren't true. And our mind is like this really kind of can be this big trap that really likes to create different scenarios for ourselves. And if we're not mindful of our mind, then our mind can just sort of kind of wreak havoc on our lives. So one of the things that I try to be aware of all the time is, what are my thoughts? So this is where I think journaling and kind of brain dumping is so useful, because you're actually emptying your mind of those thoughts and you're aware of them. What are you doing? And when we know our mindset, then we can shift it. So I think the first step, if you're going to do any type of mindset work, is be conscious of what your mind is doing. And I think mastering your mindset is definitely a key ingredient to shifting your experience of your life and also creating more desired results and outcomes that you want to create for yourself. And then there definitely is a science behind it. So if you want to even, again, sometimes our mind really needs proof. I have no idea what's happening with my chickens. They're making all kinds of noises out there. Maybe they're laying eggs. Are they laying eggs? I don't know. Let's go see what's happening out here. Good Lord. I don't know. It's exciting times out there. Maybe they're laying eggs. I don't know. Okay, sorry. So, mindset. I don't know if Gail is still on there. Gail, are you still on there? Has that been helpful? Has that been helpful? Mindset stuff. You can, that's it again. Like sometimes we need to give ourselves, yeah. Okay, cool. Sometimes we need to give our minds sort of proof of things. Our minds are a very, very powerful tool. They also can, make life very interesting for us. But I find a good way to master our mindset or to master our minds is to do exercises like meditation, mindfulness work, visualization. Mastering your mind looks like mastering your thoughts and being a little bit more conscious and aware of what's going on there. You're not going to be successful of doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but that's totally okay. You don't have to. But a lot of like the stuff, like when I notice things are going on, I'm really paying attention to what my mind is saying to me, what my thoughts are, how I'm talking to myself. And then if I'm not, once I'm able to observe that and sort of know what's going on there, then I can shift it. But mindset and your mind and your brain, our brain is such a fascinating thing. You're actually creating new pathways in your brain, which we can do, which I think is really cool. We actually have that ability to do it. The way to make it ultra powerful is coupling it with some type of an audio or an experience, like a full body. That's why I like to do music and exercise, or listening to an audio, or doing a guided meditation, or watching somebody, like even Periscope. I think where it's so great about shifting mindset, because I've even had people who've watched some of my Periscopes, for example, and it's shifted them because it's creating a new awareness of something, and that's very, very powerful. So again, I think mastering your mindset is a game changer. It definitely takes work. Yeah, music and movement. I find it's just like, I know, yeah, music and movement. I find that for myself, like when I can engage my different senses, it really helps me to shift my mindset. And I think one of the things that I've learned sort of even in the coach training, is if you feel stuck in your mind, the best thing that you can do is actually to physically move, because you actually are, it's actually helping to move your mind somewhere else, right? So if you're stuck or you find that you're feeling like you're just like in this pit, move. Actually physically, go to a different room. Like sometimes if I find that I'm just like, in my head around something, I actually will move rooms. I'll move rooms, go put on music, and, shift it that way. Another really great thing to do is actually talking with somebody. That's where I think having, sometimes talking things out with somebody can help shift it. So some people are verbal processors too. And I find sometimes when I'm talking about something, even if I'm facilitating like a horse session or, hi Sarah, a horse session or coaching session, and I'm talking out loud, it helps shift perspectives for me as well. I think that, there's so many times I'm doing a horse session and I'm facilitating something and I'm seeing something and I'm speaking it and I'm like, oh, whoa, that was cool. And so all of a sudden my brain has this new pathway and a new mindset. So oftentimes, actually when we're speaking, we're shifting our perspective too. But best way to master your mindset is to be conscious of it, to be aware of it, to identify what's going on there, and then start kind of realizing that you can be in control of your thoughts. Wayne Dyer's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, is a great kind of resource and book of that. And again, when you're reading stuff about mindset, that's why reading a book, visual, and having an audio is so powerful, because that's what helps anchors it. So there you go. And what do you need? You're on TV. Look. You're on TV. You're on TV. There. Say hi. Okay. What are you doing, you weirdo? Okay, so there we go. Mindset. I hope that was helpful. Let me know. I'm going to post it in my Facebook group, which is Soul Medicine Tribe on Facebook, if you want to catch me there. And you can comment and let me know if that was helpful. Mindset stuff is so cool. I think it's really, really powerful. I love doing it. I love doing it with people. And I find it such a powerful thing for myself, and it shifts a lot of stuff. So I definitely put a lot of my sort of practice into my ritual stuff. What is the problem? Do you have something to say around that as well? You can tell them. What do you think about mindset? You have a rough life, don't you? He just apparently wants my attention right now. It's not nice to hit. Okay, I'm gonna go and attend to my puppy dog. You can find me Soul Medicine Tribe on Facebook or HillarySchneider.com. Yeah, exactly. Come play with me. And actually the sun came out, so maybe we will go outside, although we were outside for 2 hours today on a horse session. And you had a walk already. Okay, anyways, hope that was helpful. And if you need anything, or you want me to go deeper into anything, you can comment and find it on my Facebook group, Soul Medicine Tribe, on Facebook. Otherwise, thanks for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. I had a couple suggestions on other things people wanted me to talk about, so I definitely will do so tomorrow. No, I won't, because tomorrow I'm going to be driving up to my potential and future ranch. So no, I will not be on tomorrow, but I will be on Thursday. Okay, we'll see you guys later.